Good evening, Internet. I do hope we're all well out there, you're in health. And if the quirks of my video editing software have rendered me static for the first few moments of this video, then don't worry, it's perfectly normal and it will right itself after a moment. Right, we're going to take a look tonight at the style of Danish Pete Honore from the Andertons channel. And these first three licks are all copied from his opening jam with the Captain Meets Danish Pete interview video, which I thoroughly recommend watching. It's a great watch, lots of licks on there. And these first three are all in the key of E, so I'm just going to set up a nice little E major loop here. 2, 3, 4. And here's the first one. Just to walk you through this, this is all in E major pentatonic, or well, E major actually, we're going to involve the 7th. I'm starting off by sliding into the 14th fret on the B string, followed by the 12th fret, followed by the 11th fret G. So that's giving me C sharp the 6th, B the 5th, and F sharp the 2nd. And you can hear those non-chord tones going outside the root 3rd and 5th, kind of give it a more thoughtful vibe. And then we're moving down the E major scale. I'm starting off on the 5th fret of the B string, then going to the 4th fret, so that's giving me root down to 7th, down onto the G string, pulling off 6th fret to 4th, that's giving me C sharp to B, so 6th to 5th. Then I'm going to roll this first finger over onto the 4th fret of the D, hammer down 4th fret to 6th, that's giving me 2nd up to 3rd, and then do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to add in a slide up to the A note on the 7th fret of the D string, give that a little bit of a wobble, and that's ending on the 4th, so kind of a thoughtful sound. You can hear that's leading us somewhere. Then we're back onto the B string, and we're moving laterally along the B string here. Going to pick from the root note on the 5th fret, hammer down onto the 7th fret, give me the 2nd, slide into the 9th fret, give me my 3rd, and an aching, languid semitone bend from 3rd to 4th and back again before pulling off to 2nd. And then picking the 5th fret again, my root note, hammer down to the 7th fret and slide up to the 9th fret, so root, 2nd, 3rd, and finishing on the 7th fret of the high E string. That's the B, and that's the 5th of the key that we're in, so that's leading us somewhere. I'll try that again. In the next one, this is where Pete started putting pedal to metal a little bit, and if we take the C sharp minor pentatonic shape, for those of you who aren't sure about this, if you take the minor pentatonic and move it back 3 frets, so from E, 1, 2, 3 to C sharp at the 9th fret, you're going to get the major pentatonic, but without having to learn the god-awful major pentatonic shape. So Pete starts on the D string and just motors his way up. Nothing flash here, no sequencing, it's just straight up. And then picks the next part. We're moving down the major scale in 5s, but we're using a 16th note rhythm, so we're getting kind of a hemiola effect. It's a different part of the phrase that falls on the beat each time. So my first group of 5 is the 11th fret on the high E, followed by 9 pulled off to 7 on the E, and 9 to 7 on the B. First part. My next group of 5, I switch positions, move up, and I'm going from the B string, 12th fret, 12 pulled off to 9, 11 to 9 on the G, and 11th on the D. So first group of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm up onto the G string at the 11th fret, 11 pulled off to 9, 11 to 9 on the D, 11 on the G. So first group of 5, second group, third group, and I'm finishing off 9 hammer to 11 on the D, back to the D, and then 9 to 11 on the A string. That's actually ending on the 3rd, not as I put in the blog, the 6th. So that is actually a nice strong chord tone and very melodic. The 3rd is the chord's emotional centre. then resolve that lick with our next example, which is here. And we're really interested in the end part of the lick. This first one isn't really getting anything particularly special. It's very pleasant, but we're kind of messing around with the end of the C sharp minor pentatonic here, starting off on the 9th fret D, moving on to the A string, picking the 11th, pulling off to the 9th, sliding down to the root on the 7th, hammering back to the 9th and sliding back to the 11th. So nice and melodic. We're finishing there on the 3rd. The interesting bit is this part. This is where we're using hybrid picked 6ths. So I've got 11th and 9th, that's G and E, sorry, G sharp and E together, that's a minor 6th interval. F sharp and D sharp, that's a major 6. E and C sharp, another major 6. So that's 11, 9, 9, 8, 7, 6. And then I'm up onto the G string on the 8th fret, so that's getting my D sharp, my 7th. Slide that down to the 6th fret, pull off to the 4th fret, and then mimicking that on the next string down, 6, slid to 4th, pulled off to 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, root. Give that some vibrato. You hear that in context. Now, for the next three licks, we're actually in G with a slightly different groove. I can't quite remember what they did. It's along the lines of and the first thing we're going to look at is a kind of a country trick that's it's not particularly technical, but it's quite cool. I haven't seen this done before, so I'm going to steal it and show it to you guys. This is all hybrid picked. Now what I'm doing here is I'm using my middle fingers to pluck the D and G strings. Now we're in the key of G, that's my 5th and my root, so that's 2 incredibly strong key tones. And with the plectrum, I'm just picking notes from that shape of G minor pentatonic underneath it, and there's loads of things that you can do with this. There's no reason why you can't take the minor pentatonic all the way up the fretboard. So you've got your melody played by the plectrum and then given a little bit more body by the hybrid picking the D and the G. Right, about 20 seconds later in this end jam and we get into full-on jazz territory. And on the face of it, this looks terrifying. But actually, it's quite a nifty use of the blues scale with a little bit of chromaticism on top of it. So I'm starting up here, and there, 15th fret on the B string, that's a D, that's my 5th. 14th fret, that is the flat 5 behind it. So I'm just alternating 5, flat 5, back to 5, and then over onto the 15th fret, high E, there's my G root. So it's nothing different from, but just the fact that we're using a little bit of a position shift there seems to give it a jazzier flavour. It's a neat little trick. And then my next line, 15th fret on the B, and then I'm going to do a little first finger bar across the B and the E strings, picking that 18th fret, and I'm just going chromatically down from the 18th, 17, 16, 15, all pulled off, just one pick stroke. And then that's 15, 18, pulled off to 15 on the B, and then 18, 17, 15, all pull-offs on the G. That's standard blues scale stuff. And then quickly down onto the D, 17 pulled off to 15, onto the A, 17 pulled off to 15, slid down to the 13th fret. That is your minor 3rd right there. And then finishing up on the root here, 15th fret on the low E. And then we're moving back up. There's my minor 3rd, going to pick that, hammer down onto the 15th fret, that gets me to the 4th, slide up a semitone to the flat 5, and another one to the regular 5th, and we're going to tag it with 7, that is just picking the 5th again, and going behind it's the 15th fret, playing the 4th, hammering the 5th, and finishing off with a bit of vibrato. For our final example, we start in some B.B. King territory, and then we move and we do another concept that I hadn't actually seen used in a guitar solo before. So, kudos Pete. Learned a few things this month. And we start up here in G major pentatonic, but we're going to make a nod to the minor by bending this note here, the A, which is the 2nd, up by a semitone, then back playing it straight. Little flick here, 8, 10, 8, so there's my root, hammer the 2nd, pull off. There's my G, E note, 9th fret on the G string, that's the 6th, back to the G root. So it's very B.B. King, and that mixing up minor and major pentatonic, that's really what his song's all about. Then we're going to meander through the G blues scale. I'm not going to talk fingers too much on this one because it is all tabbed out in the blog, and I'll link all that. The interesting one is what we end on here, 7th fret on the A string. That is an E natural, that's a major 6. So I'm blending blues scale with a major 6 in there. And then we come to the really cool part. Very country, very blues, very jazz, all Pete. And what we're doing here is we're using tenths. Now, if you're not familiar with what a tenth is, well, here is my G note, here is my minor 3rd, B flat, here is my minor 3rd, B flat, up an octave, root, flat 10th. And then we bend it to make it slightly ambiguous in between minor and major. So that's 10th on the A, 11th on the B. Pick the A string with the pick, hybrid pick, so finger pick, either middle or 3rd finger, to get the B string note, and you're bending all these B string notes up by some quarter tone to make them just, a little blues curl in there. So 10 and 11, then repeat, 8 and 10, 6 and 7, 5 and 6, 4 and 5, and 4 and 3 and 4 then. So implying G minor, F, E flat minor, D minor, D flat minor, and C minor. And give that a bit of context. And it's a really interesting sound. First time I've come across that, so yeah, it's been a fun. Now, I had lofty ideals of doing an interview with Pete. We had messages briefly on Instagram and things, and unfortunately it doesn't look like that's going to be practical, at least at the moment. But you know, we live in hope. And well, I shall see you same time next month, internet, all being well. Curse you, Delta variant. And until then, your health. Take care.